Hello and welcome to Are You Not Entertained? I'm Maximus Cardillo. Dude,
I just farted.
today's podcast is all about ancient Egypt. It's all about the creative minds and exploring our own inner journeys. We're sitting by a fire pit right now, so if the audio is kind of jacked up, sorry, bear with us.
Want me
But
to kill it for you so the audio's
no, don't kill the fire. Don't kill the fire. All right, here's the podcast, guys. Hope you enjoy.
That's like his whole thing.
Dude, I have a problem watching TV because I feel like I need to be productive.
Yeah.
Like I have a problem with wanting to always be productive. So I feel like shit when I sit on the couch and I'm watching TV. So anytime anybody asks me about a show like you just did, I'm like, yeah.
No, I'm the same way, but my problem is I'll just stay up late so I can fit in as much as I want in one day.
True. I am a firm believer that there's 24 hours in a day and you need to use as many of those hours to get everything in.
Yeah.
Your TV shows, your hard work, your, and that's just like lawn work, like housework, and then your actual 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Your creative work.
You gotta eat.
You gotta eat. So how do you fit practice into all this?
I don't.
Both of you. Like, how do you fit music creation? It's because you're still doing the delivery man stuff, right? So in the car, you set up a studio.
Well, no, I have like a morning period, and then I have an afternoon, which is like I don't plan my days let's put it this way. I used to write a schedule and write a whole bunch of stuff down. I never get stuff done if I do that. So what I need to do is I'll start with you just pick something to start off with. So you start off all right, every morning I'm gonna brush my teeth or something like that, and then you just you don't write anything down. You just start by adding stuff, and then you're like, oh, you know what? If I go to work at 11 and I go until 7 p.m., that's a good time frame for me. And then I go, oh, if I wake up at 7 every day, then you know what I mean? Things just start to fall into place, and you don't really have, as long as you know in front of your mind that you want to utilize your time. I think the only thing that really you need to focus on is atrophy, where if you don't do something for you know what I mean? If you're trying to do so many things at once and then a certain skill you don't touch for long, it starts to hit atrophy. It starts to get worse because you're not practicing.
So you're saying do everything, even if it's in small amounts, because if you don't do something for a prolonged period of time, you get into that stunted growth almost.
Yeah, you ever play a video game and you don't play the video game for months, then you go back to the video game and you're just I remember when I was first playing it, I was so much better. It's the same thing with if you're creating music or doing anything. If you don't keep yourself fresh, you're that whole that little edge, you'll lose the edge. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That dog.
Yeah, I know. It's the first time we're doing an outside podcast. We were sitting by the fire and we're like, this is a good little fire pit conversation. We might as well turn on the podcast, but I didn't factor in the neighbor's dog. We'll see how much in post I can do with this audio file, but
Is it really that cold where you're getting...
yeah, our breath.
Dude, I thought I blew out smoke from the fire. I was like, holy shit, there's no way it's that cold out now.
Apparently it's that cold out. Yeah.
It feels good.
I don't know, dude. I feel like
being cold, it's not that bad.
I feel like so you basically set yourself a schedule on how you want to be productive with your day and how you want to spend time, hard work, creative work, chill time.
Well, sort of let's put it this way, things just start to fall into place, and you realize that certain things you have to do every day, or they're not going to get better. So the way I set up my job is I know that I can freestyle while I'm on the road, or I could sing, I could rap, I could do whatever. And if where else do you get paid to do that? You know what I mean? You don't. But you actually have to put the work in. So that's a part of my day that I don't really worry about atrophy with it because I do it all the time. But there's other things drawing, piano, guitar. You can't do all those things in one day. You're not going to hit all of them. But if you just make sure that you have a morning segment, you know that when you get done work at 7, you have until 12 a.m. to fit whatever you want. If you want to hang out, you hang out. Just make sure that whatever skill you haven't touched, that you make sure you touch it every now and then. Otherwise, it's just going to be it's not that you won't be good at it. You're just not going to get better. You're just going to be you need to actually keep that atrophy from not catching up to you. And that's where I think most of the learning comes. Certain, you know what I mean? You'll learn when you've been doing it after a bunch of days. But if you just stop playing, you're just playing catch up. You're not going to hit the learning part until you break through you know what I mean? You can't just not touch it. If you don't touch it, it's just going to, yeah.
That's where I am with guitar. I'm totally I'm in atrophy with my guitar skills. No doubt about it. Like I do not play the guitar enough.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like, yeah, it sucks, man.
You were telling me earlier that you have a problem bringing yourself to practice, yet
Yeah.
you're in a band
I know,
and you
dude.
have like a big show coming up. So how does that work? Day of the show, you learn all the songs in the set list or what?
The worst part is like I'm very good at oh, fuck.
Right in the eye.
Ah,
You get a spark right in the eyes.
Spark right in the eye.
yeah, phew.
Cut.
What you doing?
Podcasting?
What you doing? You're going somewhere. Get me something to eat. Get me something to eat. Where you going? Where you going?
Very nice. All right, pick it up from that thought.
Did you hear that whistle come from the fire?
Yeah.
It's like I hear.
So day of
No.
the gig, do you
No,
learn all the songs in the set or what?
No. No, I think I'm very and I hate for it to be like a little hypocritical, but I guess it is. Maybe not. I don't know. I definitely am very good at like finding mistakes, and I'm very good at hearing when something's wrong, like as a group when we play. I'm not really good at explaining like the theory behind it or why it's wrong. But have my flaws where I could admit like I don't know something, but I'm definitely not good at like the theory side of knowing something's wrong. But I'm good at telling physically like, yo guys, let's stop. Even when it's like my mistakes. But yeah, I definitely just like also to contradict that I don't practice as much as I should. But I usually try to at least get it down to where I'm comfortable and I can still be able to figure it out. Like it's like I know I'll be okay.
Dude, I think that that's so relatable as like a creative person, right? I think all three of us with both your guys' music and my movies, it's like this devil you know kind of a situation is best as I can describe it. It's like you know what you have to do to get the best work out of yourself, but it's hard to get started. And once you get started, you don't want to stop. At least that's how it is for me. I don't know if that's how it is for you. It's
Yeah.
like once I start editing, and I get in the editing mood, the editing bay, and I'm looking at the screen for hours on end, I have to see that thought through, and I know it will consume me and it will consume my whole day. So I like avoid my office at all costs. Like I don't want to sit in my office and go on the computer and edit because I know it will consume me as a person for those days or those hours that I'm doing it. Is that what it's like when you're, creating a piece of music or when you're playing with your band?
I mean, it's like when you say that, I'm like, you ever hear the expression of like the rider and the horse?
No.
So like if you're they say it's like a metaphor for like it could be used for like emotions but a lot of stuff, but like the rider is the one who controls the emotion. Sometimes the emotion you have to control with the rider. What I feel like is when you get called into those things, it's when the horse kind of feels like it's easy because that's what the horse wants to do. As a rider, you kind of know where you want to direct it, but the horse is doing a lot of the battle for you. The problem is when you try to do stuff like he said where you don't want to do it and the horse isn't listening to you, where you have to be the rider and get on the reins and try to figure that out. When you said it's like the demon, I mean, I think you just enjoy seeing progress and you can feel that horse get lets off the reins a little bit and you don't have to hold the reins to guide him. The horse knows where it's going. You know what I mean? So when you do that stuff, it kind of feels like it just happens. But like my biggest problem, and this is comes for like other stuff, like just like my buddies drinking and me like smoking a little bit, like just understanding that there's this horse that everyone's riding, you know what I mean? And you got to try to figure out how to ride it. You get what I mean? Like, and like when you do that music, it's because, I mean, when you do your movies and you want to get in there, it's because the horse is kind of doing the battle for you. That's why you get sucked in because it's just so easy for the horse to do its thing. But it's when you got to do the things you don't want to do, that's where the battle is like, it's literally, it's not, there's no philosophy. It's just a literal like muscle in your head. You got to train it.
Dude, that was so well said. And I've never heard the horse and the rider analogy, but I actually really like that. I really relate to that. But I think when you don't want to do something and you do it anyway, that's what separates the boys from the men, if you would. Or, yeah.
No, I definitely agree with that. But and I know that's like what my problem is, but at the same time, I'm also just hard on myself in everything, but I feel like that's even where like I have trouble because like I said, I'm aware of that, but I also like I'm okay with that because I feel like I'm just not get to a point where I don't even enjoy it sometimes. So it's like if I like tried to push myself to do all those hard things and that, like I said, like I'm good at other things, the same kind of drive, but just not music. I would have to substitute. So like stop doing the things that I'm really good at right now, and start from scratch with the music. But like I also just like don't like that kind of.
You gotta do stuff that you don't like though, and it gets easier.
Yeah, I know, but it's not even like I don't. Ooh, it's not even like I don't like it. It's just like I also really like the things I'm doing now that I didn't think I would
So
like.
what are those things? You keep saying that. So what are the
Just like my career path, my job, my second job.
So
Like
working in the warehouse and
I like it.
driving a forklift and stuff like that. You didn't think you would like it?
No, I mean,
I worked the forklift for like 2 years, bro.
well, I've been
Dude,
there
I'm a
for,
substitute teacher now. I never thought I would fall into that.
dude. I mean, I've been there almost 5 years. I worked there with like some of my best friends too, and it's like in a very short time, like I've become like very close to like the big bosses. You know what I mean?
See, but the thing is, I like what Nico said. You said you got a job that you're able to create music while on the clock. See, that's kind of how I've structured my life and my 9 to 5 kind of situation. I kind of make my own hours. So I'm a real estate photographer and I'm a substitute teacher and I do contracting work at nights, Mondays and Tuesdays. So I'm able to pick my moments. Like, okay, Monday and Tuesday night, I'm going to be working at night. So I can have my days if I want to work on this movie, go do this shoot. Or I can choose to go substitute teach. I can pick and choose my moments so I can choose when I want to be creative and I can substitute things. And then, like you said, Damien, I can choose, like, if I'm burnt out, I'll just, I won't shoot
Yeah.
today. I'll go substitute, I'll make money. I don't know. I think that that's
I like
that's
that
what
too.
some people who are creative, you have to kind of do that. You got to schedule your 9 to 5 life. You have to try and make it benefit your creative life because we all start somewhere as creatives. Your rapping isn't going to pay the bills. Your band isn't going to pay the bills right off the rip, and my movies certainly aren't going to pay my bills right from the jump. So we have to try and, make our 9 to 5s fit into our creative life and make that make sense day to day and keep trucking forward, keep moving forward towards the goal. And the goal is to create. For me, it's to create for the betterment of.
Yeah, and like I said, you just don't want your job to where you're hitting atrophy. Like, I mean, any type of job, it's fine, but like money only goes so far if you like you missed out on your future. I don't know. Like, I just can't. There's so many opportunities to make more money. When I realized DoorDashing wasn't making good money, but it was exactly what I needed to like push my career, I was like, I'm being stupid. I was like, I need to put making money as something that's extremely important,
Right.
but not as important as making a lot of money. You know what I mean?
In the long term.
Like my, not, I shouldn't even say it's like money. It's like just like thinking about what I want to do with my life.
Or just
Like,
when you're sitting in a rocker as an old
yeah,
man, you look back like I created that. I did that. I was
yeah,
known as that.
yeah. And it's like I could have did something where I felt like I was not pushing myself, but instead what I chose to put basically you put not like faith, but you put your chips on yourself, and you're like, I know that
Yeah.
myself. I'm
Yes.
committed to see where this guy goes, and I believe that if I don't see the potential of where he goes, and I decide to go like money comes first, and just not letting myself blossom into something that I feel like is like because we all want to figure out why we're here, you know what I mean? And like money's not that, you know what I mean? So I think when you create stuff, you just
By that, do you mean we all want to assign ourselves
no.
a meaning to life kind of thing? What do you mean
No,
we want to all figure out why we're here?
like I feel like I'm not trying to be contradictory. Like I noticed that in the last podcast. I'm not like it's not.
I don't think you're contradictory.
I just think it's like it's not like you're trying to find meaning. It's that you just don't want to waste life. And like if you're going to live your life, just do something with it. And that does. I guess it's kind of meaningful, but
So
it's more
don't get
like
complacent.
what's it called? It was a metaphor for emotions, but then I realized it tied into a whole bunch of other stuff past emotions as I
What
got
the horse?
older.
So it's the horse and the rider you were talking about.
Yeah, I heard it. I heard it as a metaphor for emotions. But as I got older, I started realizing that like it's a lot. It's not. It's deeper than emotion. Like it's like there's like just your entire life. There's this horse that everyone's riding, whether they know it or not, and that's kind of like purpose, meaning, but also just like living and just survival and just getting done things that your body just might not want to do. Like it's weird. Like
So
it's like
what's the horse? Is that life and existence?
it can be a lot of things. That's what I'm saying. Like I think it doesn't have to be a metaphor for one thing. Like it's the law for one thing. What I'm saying is like think about certain things in your life. Most of the times you can apply that concept where you're like, you know what I mean? Like just try to think about times where you're like you're trying to work out. You don't want to work out. The rider is saying I want to work out. The horse is trying to buck you off and just doesn't want to do its thing. Now the thing is you keep training that horse to do its thing. It keeps going up the rocky path that it was scared of the one time.
The horse is
Eventually,
the brain.
the horse isn't the brain. It's the horse is
The
the
un
emotion. It's more like an emotion than I would say. It's more like the thing. Like it's the limitations of your biology almost like whatever you are just naturally inclined to do, but you can train yourself to be inclined to do things that you weren't originally inclined to do by doing it multiple times. So if you, like I said, if there was a horse and it was scared of a bridge and you walked on the bridge, it would walk super slow because it was scared about falling. You take it on the bridge again and again and again and again and again. Eventually the horse is like, I've been on here before. I'm not scared of it. And it's like the same thing if you're like trying to get into the gym. Like you wake up, the gym is like this daunting thing, and then you just keep doing it, and then eventually that bridge, the horse is like, oh, you know what, I'm not afraid of this, I'm used to this. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's like training yourself. It's like anything. It's like slow exposure to something to get you used to it. Like getting acclimated to the water. Like, dipping your toe in before jumping all the way in,
I do like
kind of
what The
thing.
Rock said though. The Rock said when he started wrestling, now I'm not that you got to take this with a grain of salt, like because this can get you in trouble if you take it the wrong way. But what I'm saying is, he said when he started wrestling, they threw him in the deep end. Like he had some experience wrestling, but McMahon was like, "Yo, I'm going to put you in the spotlight right away." And he was like, "What?" And then after it all happened and he got done, he said, "Why'd you do that?" And he said, "Well, I wanted to put you in to see if you would sink or swim, and you swam." You know what I mean? He's like, and that's where I find my fighters. You know what I mean? And yeah, I mean, you sometimes you got to throw yourself into something that like you got to get in the deep end of it all, and then you can sometimes your body just clicks and it can snap in. I don't know. It's like I said, so you can't apply it to everything, but like
Well, I know that me and you and Damien can. I mean, Damien, when you had your tryout for your new band, didn't he literally make you just solo on the bass until he told you to
He
stop?
sat down and he said, play me something. And like, they're going to ask you to do that. But I'm just like, oh, dude, come on. So I just play, he's a guitar player. So it's like, man, hopefully he doesn't really know a lot about bass. He just is easy to, I don't want to say easy to sell, but like, you just basically what I do is you just put a lot of effort into something that's like simple. I mean, you got to think about what you're playing a little bit, but it's also just like all I'm doing is doing this and this and
It's quality over
yeah,
quantity, right?
just showing them that like, man, I'm not really playing the most fanciest smart thing ever, but I'm playing something with
Right.
confidence and I'm playing it with like enjoyment and just like
Yeah.
just trying to sell it that it's some crazy thing, just make it sound good, even if
The
it's
same thing kind of applies with film. Even my photography, videography job for real estate media, it's like if you lean on your push-ins, your pans, you're golden. You know what I mean? If you just have your core, shots and you are good and you spend time perfecting those, then you don't need the drop orbit or you know, all these crazy fancy moves.
yeah.
Yeah. But I think that's a metaphor for life, isn't it? It's like if you stay focused and attentive to, you know, the core four things in your life, love of the friends and your family, um, love of yourself, your work ethic would be number two, your outlet. So that could be your hobby or, stuff like that. Your music, my videography, filming, your music. Um, and then the fourth thing, I think the fourth thing would probably be, I think the fourth thing would probably be different for everybody. I think
But that's where like personality comes in. Your
exactly,
impersonality.
exactly.
It's personality, you know?
What
We
would
all
your
have.
fourth thing be? I think love of your friends, your family, your relationship. What did I say? Two would be your work ethic,
Yeah.
and then your creative outlet would be your third thing, like release, like your release. But then that's also personality based. So then what would the fourth thing be?
Well, I was gonna. Never mind. I'm getting off topic. I just realized I'm gonna get way off topic.
What?
Getting way
What?
off
Where did
topic.
your brain jump
My
to?
brain was like trying to think of philosophy stuff. I was like, let me ask you this: when you look at life right now, and I don't know the answer, I'm genuinely asking. Do you think it's a test, or do you think this is the end goal?
Probably test. Think test. Maybe, yeah. How well can we carry ourselves in one life before we start another?
I think I agree with that. I think it's a test.
How well can you carry yourself under different circumstances in this type of world, with the certain problems you deal with in this world? You know what I mean? How well can you carry on and try your best? Even though you're not perfect, you can do shit that's wrong and bad, but you at least at the end of the day, you can understand like, all right, yeah, listen, I'm not perfect. Sometimes I get a little angry. I've done made some mistakes, but you still have the ultimate goal of just like I'm trying to do good, and most of the times I do good. You know.
Right. Well, not trying to get too religious or anything, but like if we're gonna add like religion to this or like theology or anything like that, um, isn't that what heaven kind of is, or
Yes, it's like
reincarnation? So if you look at religion from a wholesome view, every religion, I'm trying to narrow it down to any religion. Reincarnation depends, you get a better life the next go around if you were a good person and you learned your lessons and you developed great relationships. You move on to the next incarnation where you get a better life, right? You go from a peasant to like, the next tier up. And then eventually you reach the nirvana or pure consciousness. Same, and then you look at heaven, and heaven, they tell you, you have to abide by the Ten Commandments, you have to love thy neighbor, you have to do all this stuff, right? And then you get to go to heaven. So I
What do
think
you
that kind of
think
answers your
heaven's like?
question, right?
Well, as you guys were talking, like, do you think like what if it's just both? Like, what if this is like, let's put it this way, like, the end goal is for life to be life, and the chaos of that is the beauty of it as well. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like he would also want to be like, if someone's going to ruin this thing, let's make sure that they learn their lesson, or the people that did really well get gifted for that. But at the same time, I also feel like this right here, like, isn't this his work? And like, heaven is where you could go if you do well here. But like, this will keep moving after we die, and like, this is what we know stays. You know what I
Well,
mean?
then shit gets trippy. Like, what if I say this? Like, say, the stuff with politics and war and it goes crazy, right? And we wind up in a World War III type of a situation, right? Is that all part of God's plan? Is mass evisceration of his creation a part of the plan?
What if I, well, what if I told you that
Because you said this continues.
I feel like when I look at God, I'm not like, I feel like it's this higher power that wants to lead everything towards light. But the thing is we know the world is not like a computer. It's not as cut and dry. Like,
I don't know, man. I
what
think
I'm
it is
saying,
kind of like a
what
computer.
I'm saying is like,
The more you look
well,
at,
listen, let me just explain. What I'm saying is the chaos of life is what creates so much beautiful things. And God loves beautiful things. It's why he created a lot of stuff. It's what I feel in my heart. And like, if we were to like, if this were to have no purpose,
I'm
like,
not saying it has no purpose.
like,
By no means am I saying that it has no purpose.
like,
I believe
sorry,
that
my, I
life,
get getting too
I
much.
believe that we are all put here on this planet without any.
Let's talk about TV shows we like.
Is this getting too deep for you, Dane?
Now I can tell we're like fumbling over our thoughts now.
No, I noticed that Nico does that. He
Yeah.
gets so passionately, his brain goes into five different
No, I
directions.
talk really weird, dude.
No, 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 no. I follow that though.
do
I
respect
follow
that.
that though, because that's kind of where I'm at. It's like a pitchfork in the road. It's like where you want to take this. But what I'm trying to say is, I think that as as children, we're brought into this world and we don't have a purpose, right? I think purpose is assigned by the person whose life it is because it's theirs, isn't it? just like we talked about in our last
Yeah.
podcast. It's yours, isn't it? So we are the people that assign purpose to our individual experiences. So like you said like, you don't think this is meaningless, and neither do I, because I assign
No, I think
meaning
this
to
is
my
the end
life.
goal, and I think like if
Oh,
there's like
is that where you stand on that question?
well, I think like I think well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like the more when I ask the questions because I was thinking about stuff we were talking. What I'm saying is I feel like this could be the end goal, but like at the same time, you could do so well that there's another layer to this thing. And I think like when we talk about God and we talk about divinity and we get deep into that, it's just like you got to think about what happens when people keep evolving and when stuff keeps happening and where things root from. Did you like? I heard this in the Joe Rogan podcast, and I want someone to really listen to what I'm saying if you're hearing this right now. There is more planets than there has been seconds since the Big Bang. There is more planets than there's been seconds since the Big Bang.
Seriously?
There is
Did you
more
know that?
planets than seconds since the Big. And we want to talk about like dimension theory. Screw dimensions. We are already in such an expansive galaxy with so many planets. We talk about aliens, dude. I'm telling you, they probably have other fish to fry. And I think they look at us like a little ecosystem, a little bubble that they want to keep alive because we create cool stuff. But if we blow ourselves up, that ruins it. And that's why they're involved. And when we look at our government and stuff, I don't know how they're involved. Maybe the government doesn't know they're involved, but I would not be surprised if they look at us and they say, let's keep it going if we can. And if they hit the point of no return, then they blow up and they go. Because that's just how it is. And they're not going to care if we blow ourselves up. That's why we need creative minds like Nikola Tesla, Elon Musk, people who are coming up with great stuff to save humanity because we can lose it. And people think you don't have to put that work in and they just look to God. God is there, but you also need to save it yourself. We have like I'm saying, our world is chaotic because we don't have enough people who have the balls to figure shit out anymore. And we have people who think they do, but they never make progress. No one cares about your potential, dude. No one cares about what was inside of you. We care about what gets done, and no one's figured anything out yet. We haven't cured cancer. I know it's like easier said than done, but I'm just saying, like, there's stuff we haven't figured out. And like, we need somebody out there to do these things, to figure it out, or humanity is going to, when we hit these plateaus, when we get into wars, it's because we didn't have the heroes, the minds that are what make the world what it is today. And like, you talk about God and stuff, I think our ancestors help us. I mean, but I don't know how that works because it's just so, it's like energies and like, I think this is the end goal, but there's also places you can go if you've done well and maybe you can help the people that you've seen in your life. I don't know how it works. I'm just speculating, but like,
It sounds like you're talking reincarnation. It sounds like, well, you definitely sound like you're talking about dharma. Like what you do in this life, it affects, you know, infinite possibilities kind of thing. And you can end up in better planes or
no, I think you
dimensions, I
can just get
guess.
randomly screwed. Like I think people don't realize that. Like I think like you could just be like caught in the crossfire of a missile and blow up tomorrow. No one has a set stance on life. God's not like just protecting random people. God's protecting light and love. That's what I feel like God's protecting. God's protecting love as best as he can. And this higher power wants to push light or good in the best way that it can. But the world is just so chaotic that like yeah, I mean, the world's just chaotic as shit, you know what I mean? But I think it defeats the purpose. If like, do you ever hear the expression, like, imagine if someone discovered time travel and we learned how to control time.
I think they already did,
You know what I'm
dude.
saying? No, listen, really think about it. So just say we could go to the future, we could go to the past, and you could change anything. What if the entire timeline was in our hand? You would be like, what do you even do then? What is the meaning of life if you can see the future, beginning, end, middle, all of it? Like,
Well, that depends on which version of time travel do you believe in. It's like, do you believe if you go back in time and you change something in the past that it creates the future that we live in now, or do you believe that it creates a branch timeline and it creates a brand new existence all in and of itself? You know what I'm talking about? Kind of like this is getting into the you're Back to the Future kind of a territory.
Getting killed.
This is like when Marty goes back in time and he changes something and the picture starts to fade away in Back to the Future? Or is it like Avengers Endgame time travel when they travel back in time and it kind of creates a branch timeline? It doesn't change the future that they already lived in. You know
I
what I'm
think the
saying?
second you can change the timeline, everything breaks because you could change the past. And if you could change the past, then you can change entire histories just by giving them technology or something. And like what I'm saying is like when I feel like this is the part, this like partially a test, partially the end goal is like I feel like why are we allowed to think? Why are we allowed certain chaoses? It's like part of me feels like we're allowed these chaoses because if you could see the entire timeline, it makes no sense if you knew where it was going. The beauty of life is the chaos of life because like if you
The
knew,
beauty is the journey, kind of thing.
yeah, the beauty is seeing me talk and do my thing, not seeing my casket. You know what I mean? The life isn't about like it's not this deep thing. You want it. The chaos is what makes it good because it's what makes it unique. If it wasn't unique, then everything was set in stone. Everyone would be a worker ant. Everything would build, and it's like, well, then we're just having the image of whatever God wants, and then whatever God wants, He's just looking at this set creation. But chaos is beauty, man. There's beauty in things not being exactly perfect. You know what I mean? And there's things to like. I feel like if I was God and you were not, that's a stupid philosophy to say about. I'm just saying, like, if you
A
have
lot of
the
people
entire
believe that,
world,
dude.
I'm saying you
A
have the
lot of people
entire
believe that, though.
future in your hands and the past and everything. It's just like. Wouldn't you want a little chaos because it's the beauty of life itself, seeing the choice, seeing the decisions that are made, seeing and like maybe if we die, maybe I don't know. I sometimes just like I wonder maybe we go nowhere, man. And it's like and I like it's just pitch black and it's done. But that's who cares? Who cares, man?
Is that what you believe, or do you believe in heaven?
No, I believe in a higher power, but I think that when you die, you die. I do. That's where I lean. And I think it's not something to be afraid of. And I think it's something more people need to think about because they think about if they keep thinking about, oh, as long as I'm good and I die, then it's fine. But you know what? The world's blowing up. The world's blowing up. We need some people who are scared to die. We need some people who are ready to fucking save it because there's nothing wrong with being afraid to fucking die. Like you shouldn't, let's put it this way. You don't have to be afraid of dying. You shouldn't go out and be like, I'm accepting it because I've been a good person. Let's just go fucking die today. You know what I mean? It's like, no, you should try to avoid people dying, avoid yourself dying. See how we can keep this thing going because I think we can lose it. I do. I think we can lose it. I think God has programmed our life and this world to fail if it wants to, but we have the decision to keep it afloat.
So that's your wraparound answer to my World War III question.
That all kind of like doesn't that all kind of tie into just like being a good person then at the end of the day?
Yeah.
So we gotta just keep it afloat, right? You know? So yeah, it's weird.
Do you believe that it's just pitch black when you die?
I don't know. That's one of those things where it's like, no, I believe in heaven just because like it's yeah, I just want to believe
What
it.
does that look like, though? White pearly gates and
That doesn't we have no idea, so I can't, you know what I mean? Just
Right,
like
right.
and that's the same as why I don't believe in like pitch black. It's like sure, that's an option, just like heaven's an option, but at the end of the day, we really don't know. So you know, if your beliefs are your beliefs, your personality. So if one in particular clings on to you, or you think a
well,
little bit more
it's
about it,
also like
it's your decision.
Well,
Right.
I need to say this. Look, I had not. I shouldn't say a dream. A dream. I hate because I do have weird dreams. I'm not going to get into dream talk again. That was a weird spiral last time. But listen, I had.
listen to the other
had-
podcasts if you haven't already.
Don't do that. Don't.
It was
do that.
good. It was good. It's one of my favorite
Don't do
conversations.
that. No, what I'm saying is I had a dream that my great grandmother touched my arm and I saw white and gold and I felt something pulse through my arm that felt like her touching me from a
Dude.
Now, listen, but this is what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Even if that happened, like I'm just saying, I think there's stuff that we don't understand and we misinterpret it and we create these descriptions and stories to go behind the things we don't understand because we don't understand things and people come up with stories to understand them. And sometimes the stories are accurate and a lot of the times they're not because people are just trying to come up with something to rationalize the impossible, which is
Right.
why Egyptians
Right.
worship gods because they didn't understand technologies and stupid. And
Well, wait a minute.
people
Two things there. So two things. I just want to. Okay, so that's exactly where I was going to pivot to next. We, as a human race, we're four-dimensional creatures, right? So there's length, height, width, right? And then there is time. That's why it's called space, length, width, height, and time. Space-time. We exist in space-time in 4D. But what happens if we then were exposed to a fifth dimension? You know what I mean? And I think that is what these other beings that you kind of are alluding to, that are kind of, interjecting into our world. I think that that's kind of where they exist, in the fifth dimension. You also said something that there is more planets than there are seconds in the entire existence of the universe, right? So what if one of those planets has a being that is able to enter the fifth dimension, and that just allows them to appear on Earth rather than take a rocket with propulsion all the way across the universes?
Did you ever think, like, looking at the planets, that like there's a chance maybe they're not as far as they seem? Like that maybe it's a part of science that the only way that we can travel is through these jet rockets, and we believe that space is this long, expansive thing, but maybe it's something we don't understand yet, and like some things are closer than we think, and like it's just we're like I said, it's like science. Like I think we see us, we're all perfect spears. I don't know how to say that.
Spheres.
We're all perfect spears and all that. What I'm saying is, it looks like we're at some atomic level of something. Like it just looks like weird science when you look out. And I wouldn't be surprised if maybe you
Weird
could travel
science.
to different places through space, like specifically space, not through atmosphere. Like atmosphere, I feel like space itself might be able to be traversed through faster.
Well, most definitely.
we
I
don't
don't think I
understand
don't
it.
think jets and rocket fuel is going to take us. I think it's going to be more so psychological. I think it's going to be more so in the mind and discovering a fifth dimension, kind of like I talked about, or a sixth dimension. But I said two things about the last thing you said. You brought up ancient Egypt and the gods that they worshipped and stuff like that. Uh, I was reading a few things and listening to a few other podcasts. And um, do you guys believe that ancient Egypt was far more advanced than we are today in the 21st century, but there was some sort of worldwide catastrophe that wiped out the peoples before us, and we basically are the regression and the re-evolution of a former people who were more advanced than us?
I don't think those people ever left. I think if there was an advanced civilization, that they could be underwater. And I know it sounds crazy. Just look it up. I'm telling you. I think they might keep, like, I don't know, man. I know. Let's put it. I don't know about maybe people living under there, but I know that they're coming from the water. That's what they say. Pentagon says that. Bob Lazar's story is the close. It's not that we know it's true. It's just the closest thing to true that I personally believe without seeing actual proof. And like the way he talks about it, there's this fabric around the outside of it that, like, I don't know, it looks like a metal, but you know what I think? I think that underwater, no matter what technologies we have, we can't get super, super, super deep underwater. Like there's a certain level of deepness where there's no
That
amount.
episode.
Yeah, like there's not.
I think
A lot of people did. It was a good episode. It just came out recently. But yeah, no, like I just think that maybe if there's an element that,
Element 115.
yeah, like there's an element that we can't create right now that lets them go to densities of water that we can't get to. And the reason for that is there's no invention in human history that we could ever create that would be able to get to those densities without breaking. So maybe all that aliens have that everyone thinks is this crazy technology is just a single element that lets them go to densities without crumbling.
So then, do you think that the aliens are just us from the future, or these advanced peoples from like ancient Egypt and places like that?
Seconds than, I mean, there's been more planets than seconds. Dude, there's so much stuff going on, bro.
Do you think that the ancient Egyptians were more advanced than we are today?
I don't know, man.
How did they build the pyramids? I know all the people who live in Egypt and give those tours are like, yes, it was the Egyptians all along. I mean, we're strong, hardworking people, but the math doesn't math.
Well,
not a lot of shit in our history books makes sense, but you know, it is what it is. You know,
They say Nikola Tesla. They say Nikola Tesla died because he was experimenting the pyramids. And I heard Joe Rogan saying
He was killed, wasn't he? Isn't that the conspiracy?
Yeah, and not to keep bringing up Joe Rogan, dude, because this guy's. I feel like Joe Rogan's going to get killed. If he is right about this stuff. Yeah, but he was saying that in the same podcast I was talking about, that underneath the pyramid that there's these they literally can see these metal coils underneath the pyramid that go super deep, and apparently it's something with like wireless energy without wires that everyone is connected to right now, and that apparently it's run by the tectonic plates underneath the pyramids, and that the tectonic plates that shift right now on the earth is free energy, and that if they utilize that energy of the shifting plates,
They would never
underneath
release
the
that. That would ruin the whole
because all the
economy.
power plants and all of the power comes
wow.
from that. And but they're saying is if it's a wireless energy, like maybe we are powered by energy, and maybe that like there's a frequency. As again, super conspiracy. We're saying like I don't believe. I'm just saying if we know there's coils under that are giving it energy, and we have to explore it. I don't know. Who's to say that we're not connected to it right now, and that this relay is like powering all of life? Like a life is powered by this life force, almost like a battery. And like maybe
Well, I think we all are energy.
yeah. And what if when we explore the pyramids that we find out that they had all this technology, and the reason that the civilizations died was someone just cut the power? Like I don't know. Like, I don't know, bro. Life gets so crazy that you start getting in conspiracy rabbit holes, and you just realize that no matter what, like whether you believe in a certain religion, a certain philosophy, you just got to have love in your heart, and you can't go wrong. Because no matter what you believe, love will always be something that I stand on. And no matter who believes, I'll die for love. And I don't care if God believes that. And I think he does. I do. And I think love is the most important thing in the world.
I think that's a great note to end on. Thanks for bringing us home there. It's always a great conversation, boys. Appreciate you being here.
Cool. Fire was nice. Good job on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good. It was running for a little bit.
I never did a podcast by a fire before. Hopefully the audio wasn't too terrible with the planes and the dogs.
Well, dude, I think anyone who's here, I think like they probably know who we are already. Like, yeah, I would think that they're probably looking, and I know you don't think it, but like I think people are going to look back when we do more stuff in the future, and they're going to be like, oh yeah, what were they talking about when they were young kids? You know what I mean? Not that
We were just sitting by a fire talking about ancient Egypt and advanced peoples in ancient times. I'll call the podcast something like that. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you, everybody.
Peace.
Hope the fire was new. I know you're getting killed by smoke.
Dude,